Hi everybody, my name is Sharon Quinn and I'm also known as the original Runway Diva, and you are watching Model Behavior. Class is officially in session. Now my guest today is an actress and a plus-size modeling pioneer, Liris Crosse. She's dubbed the Body and the Naomi Campbell of Plus. Welcome to Model Behavior, Liris. How you doing today, Mama?
I'm great,
Thank you so much for being on the show. Let's get right into it.
Okay.
You know that the goal is to teach,
right?
And you've had a lot of experience, so a lot of knowledge can be gleaned from you today. Let's start with The Body. How'd you get that title?
Well, I would say Plus Model Magazine dubbed me The Body, and I guess that just comes from my body and I guess the way I present myself on the runway.
And the Naomi Campbell of Plus, where did that?
Well,
I know where it came from, but
that's definitely from my runway walk, which I've gotten to showcase also with you for like Full Figure Fashion Week. And everybody who knows me knows like she is my model mother. Like I love her ever since I was a little girl. I just tried to pattern my walk after her. She was the model that I could see that I could identify with.
Now, is that watching her, is that how you learned, or did you have formal training? How did you learn to perfect that runway walk?
Well, I did have some formal training. That was with a lady named Saran with an agency. She used to have an agency in Baltimore called Images.
Okay.
And as well as with Carla Williams, who's back in Baltimore, which is where I was born and raised. But ever since I was a little girl, I literally, it's kind of, you know how they make those jokes about, oh, I used to practice in my mother's shoes. No, I really used to practice in my mom's shoes. And as soon as I was able to get like my little kitten heels, started practicing my kitten heels, and I just kept, you know, working it up. I mean, you know, I'm passionate about modeling. I love modeling, so I always felt it was something I wanted to do, so I used to practice in the kitchen, in the hallway, outside. I still practice. Practice makes perfect.
Come on, say that.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Now, how did you get your start in modeling? Did you do local shows, or did it just take off for you right away?
Well, I was in high school, and I went to a models convention called Model Search America, and it was like a convention that went to like, you know, some of the major cities across America, and they did a big open call to see models who are in that area, and they have you come to the convention. At the convention, they do kind of like what I do with my boot camps. They do like a day workshop for you, and then the next day you walk the runway in front of like the top 30 or 40 agencies in the country. Okay. And then you walk by them with a picture to show them your picture to see how photogenic you are. Okay. And I got callbacks from Zoli, Michelle Pommier, which are two agencies that are no longer around.
Yeah, that's history right
Yeah, that's
there.
history. And 17 Magazine and Elite. And everybody knows Elite. If you're interested in modeling, you know about Elite. So that was a big deal. I was a junior in high school, and I was excited, and they loved me, but they all wanted me to lose weight. And
what size were you when you started?
I was probably a size 6'8".
And they wanted you to lose weight?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, you know, I played basketball, I ran track, I was a cheerleader, so it was like, lose weight where, what are you talking about? But I remember I tried some like crazy diet, like, oh, let me have a chocolate milk and an orange, and you know, not really try to eat, and that really doesn't work because I'm greedy. I love food. So, you know, I did lose some weight, and I went back to the convention again, and I only got one call back, and it was from the agency that was in my area called Nova Models. And I was like, wow, I don't understand, I don't get it. But I was determined to make my dream happen, and I remember I just had an epiphany one day, and I said, if I go off to college right now, something's just telling me maybe, you know, it'll be too late. Because at this time, this is when you saw girls doing Chanel campaigns at like age 14, 15, 16 years old. You were washed up by the time you got to your 20s. Right. So I'm thinking like, I'm 17, I've just graduated from high school. Okay, what's going on? So I had a heart-to-heart with my parents, and I was like, I really want to just move to New York and try modeling and see what happens. They said, we'll give you a year. I moved into my aunt and uncle's basement in Bushwick, and I have never been back.
Ooh, Bushwick. Ooh.
Bushwick, yeah. And this is when Bushwick wasn't like what Bushwick is now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and this is when Bushwick wasn't like what Bushwick is now. Yeah, and this is when Bushwick wasn't like what Bushwick is now. Yeah, and this is when Bushwick wasn't like what Bushwick is now. Yeah, and this is when Bushwick wasn't like what Bushwick is now. Yeah, okay. But you know, they trusted my aunt, my uncle, because I used to come to New York every summer and stay with them. And I moved to New York, and I have not turned back. And
so what happened in that first year? Once you got to New York, did it
I moved
happen?
That Christmas Day. The agencies opened, you know, they closed down for Christmas and New Year's. The first day the agencies were open, I was hitting the agencies. So I remember I went to one agency called Images, and they were like, "You're pretty, but you should lose some weight." And I was just like, oh gosh, okay, whatever. Then I went to some other agency, I can't remember. They said the same thing. Then I remembered the people from Model Search America said, if you're ever in New York, stop past our offices, and you know, we'll see how we can possibly help you. So I said, you know what, let me go to the Model Search America offices. So I went to their office, I met with them, a lady named Leah McCloskey. We're like still on Facebook and in touch every now and then, but she is instrumental and is basically the one who started my career. She sent me to a chance meeting with my agent. At that time, it was Susan Georget when she was at
That's my girl.
Yeah, when she was at Wilhelmina. She's now at MSA. But you know, she was like, "I'm gonna send you." When I met with Leah, she just was like, "You know what?" She was like, "What size are you now?" At this time, I was probably a full size 8, and maybe at 8'10", but you know, really at 8'10", probably more because of my height. And she said, "I'm going to send you to an agency that has some girls who look like you. They have like a special board."
She didn't want to tell you what it was.
No, she was like, "It's called the 1020 board." And I was like, "What's a 1020 board? I don't know." Because at that time, the Plus board was called the 1020 board. So she sent me to Wilhelmina Models, and I met with Susan. I saw the pictures of the women on the board. They were beautiful. They looked like my mom, my auntie. You know, they were just, you know, they looked like Tyra Banks or Naomi Campbell with just a little bit more weight, or Cindy Crawford with a little bit more weight. They just looked like beautiful women. And I was like, if they're working, this is where I want to be. So they offered me a contract on the spot. And she wanted to sign me, and I was ecstatic.
And when did this happen for you? What year was this?
I'm not going to name the year.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to date you, you know, because I did the same thing too. I walked up in Wilhelmina lying about my age. So your career sort of took off.
Yeah, I mean, it took a sec. My very first year of modeling, I didn't get one job. I didn't get one job till the end of my first year of modeling, and that was for a magazine called Black Elegance Magazine, which is no longer around too. And I did like an edgy editorial for them. And I was like, you know, I was excited because, and they were excited too, because there really weren't any models who were kind of like the in-betweenies, that's what we call them now, who they could still dress up and do editorial stuff and you know, use them for editorial shoots. So that was my very first job, and I basically, all I did was test my first year.
And that's what I was about to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think it was because you hadn't put the right card together as the reason why you didn't work, or?
No, I mean, my first test shoot was with Marlena Belinsky, who was an amazing photographer. She was amazing. I think a lot of times models come into the industry now and they expect, oh, I did one photo shoot. I should be taking off. I should be working for Lane Bryant. I should be working for Eloquii. I should be working for Target. No, boo-boo. No. You have to cultivate your look. Even with me, I've been in the industry for over a decade now. So for me, it's like I still have to change up my look at times, or I have to refresh my pictures.
Like reinvent yourself.
Yeah, you should be testing, I say almost every quarter. So that's like every 4 months. You should
that's
or every 3 months.
Yeah, because at Willie, when I was with Willie, they wanted you to test as much as possible. If you could test every week, they wanted you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to give clients new, fresh material. And now we're in a day and age where, you know, they want video. They want to know your Instagram. They want to know your Twitter, your Facebook. They want to know what else are you bringing to the table.
Okay. So now, Now I know that you've done some acting.
Mm-hmm.
How did you make that jump? How did that happen for you?
Well, okay. One of the things when I moved to New York, I also wanted to do was, this is when music videos were starting to be like a hot commodity. And I was just like, I always, being a girl from Baltimore, I was like, I want to do a music video. And I remember I got the chance to finally start to go out on auditions, just networking, going out to nightclubs and parties and model events that I would hear about. And, oh, well, here's my business card. Because I had business cards at a young age. Like, I moved up here when I was basically 18 years old. So here's my business card, or what's your phone number? And I'm putting, or what's your pager number at that point, But I was always collecting info. And even one of my first lead role in a music video, which was for a Beanie Man's Who Am I video, I was dancing at this club called Club Envy one night, and the guy, I had on this maroon catsuit, and the guy was just like, velvet catsuit, and the guy was just like, you are beautiful. And I was like, thank you. He was like, I'm doing this music video, I think you would be perfect for it. I was like, all right, well, give me your info. Exchange info. I was like, called him the next morning for quality follow-up, and he seemed really legit, sent me the information on the production, told me how much they were going to pay me.
Oh, I was about to ask that question.
Oh, yeah, and I got paid. So we made it happen, and that was like one of the first things that people were like, who is that girl?
So that started a buzz.
Yeah, because I had short natural hair, and then I wore this sexy dress from this designer. I think his name was Saber. No. I can't remember the designer, but I wore this sexy, almost like a see-through halter dress. And, the women who did music videos, they weren't as thick as me. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people like XXL Magazine, The Source, they've said that I've been instrumental. I was the one who was instrumental in bringing curves to music videos.
So you kicked that off.
Well, I'll salute and say Big Les was before me. So
okay,
she
I know who that is.
Originally kicked it off, but she was more of a dancer.
Yeah.
For me, as a model, I was the one who basically helped to kick that off. So for me doing a camera music video and networking, I had I wore another catsuit. Catsuits are just my thing, huh?
Well, so, if you're the body, of course, a catsuit is the thing you wear.
I wore this catsuit for Cameron's music video, and the designer of the catsuit, I gave her my comp card, always networking, and I said, if you ever hear about any other castings or anything, let me know. She was like, cool, because I always hear about all types of stuff. And next thing you know, literally about 3 weeks later, she calls me and she's like, they are looking for dancers for this movie called The Best Man, Spike Lee's cousin, Malcolm Lee. It's like his first directorial debut. Mm-hmm. Do you think you'd be interested? Like, you would be playing a stripper, though. And I was just like, it's acting. Okay. So I went, and it was crazy because, I had to, like, dance like a stripper. And I was like, thank God I'm from Baltimore. So, I mean, you know how we dance, like, back then we danced very, like, we would twerk, provocative. Yeah. We would twerk. So, I just got my twerk on, and I was able to read for Regina Hall's role, which was...
the wife.
No,
she was the one that he fell in love with.
Right.
Okay.
But, it was a height situation, so they ended up not going with me. But I still have, like, a cult following from being in that movie. And that was my first movie. It also was a SAG project, so it made me automatically SAG. Yeah. I didn't have to pound pavement to become union. So God has just really blessed me.
And so are you still, now of course you're still acting, but when you got those gigs, you were still with Wilhelmina, did you do this through Wilhelmina or did you freelance this?
Well, the acting stuff, they didn't really have a acting department at that time. They more had a commercial department. So this was stuff I was just negotiating on my own.
And how did you know what to negotiate?
I would ask other women, how much do you charge for this or that? I would read. I would ask questions. Asking questions is very important.
Now
Having conversations with people is very important. That's how you gain knowledge. And there's so many people that do want to share with you if you just create the dialogue and the conversation. Just like you set up this show for it to be a tool for models.
And not just models. Anyone who is aspires a career in this business.
Exactly. So they can learn from just listening to our conversation.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm trying to do. Now, you keep throwing out that word networking. Now, you and I know how all important that is. But I think there's good networking and bad networking, or maybe productive and unproductive networking. That's the way of putting it. What's the difference between the two?
Good networking is, like at my model boot camps, I have a company called Life of a Working Model Boot Camp, and I have a segment where I talk about networking. Networking can be, following certain brands or companies that you want to on their social media. When you're out at an event, making sure, if you don't have a business card, getting their phone number or their email. But also, bad networking would be constantly reaching out to that person all the time.
Stalker.
Yeah, becoming a stalker, badgering them. You want it to almost be natural and organic. I hate when people overly tag me or put me in group tweets all the time, stuff like that. It actually, instead of turning me on to your stuff, it makes me not want to look at it.
Okay, so
you have it's like an ebb and flow. You have to give, but you can't give too much. It's like you have to find the gray area.
Okay, see, now you saw my face go blank when you said group tweets, right?
Yeah.
I have a Twitter account. Don't really know how to use that unless Sabrina do that. What is a group tweet?
It's like if
is that like a group text on Twitter?
Yes. It's like a tweet, and they'll put, at Original Runway Diva, at Liris Crosse, at Dorothy Combs Models, they'll put a whole bunch of people's handles in one tweet. So it almost feels like spam to me. So I guess that's why it just kind of annoys me. Or if you do it, I don't mind if you do it here and then because you're just trying to get my attention about something. But when you do it constantly, like every day.
Yeah, that gets annoying.
Yeah, it gets annoying. It's like if I was to tag you on a picture on Facebook every day, you would be like, oh my God, please.
Yeah.
Please. I see you, but please. Right, exactly.
Now, how important, I know you all about your brand, you're always building your brand, you're always pumping up your brand. How important is branding? Because back when I started, there was branding, but that term wasn't really big like it is now. How important is, and how early should you start? Does branding start immediately?
I feel as though because we are now in this social media and technology age, you do have to start your brand now. And a lot of these companies, especially since there's so many things, especially in the modeling industry, where it feels like the line is being blurred in certain ways. Yeah. As far as who's getting what job, you want to just make sure that you build up your brand and you protect it. Whether it's, creating your own hashtag or make sure you're collecting your video reels from interviews and
so you get copies of everything that you do.
I try my best to. That was something I started when I started to meet publicists earlier in my career. They would just say, do you have a reel? And they're like, because you're modeling and doing stuff, you need to start collecting your stuff. So I didn't notice that a lot of models were doing it, but like I said, I've always been kind of out of the box. So I just would say, can you please send me a DVD or,
And do you put your reel together yourself?
Yeah,
or
I have my video guy.
So you have somebody that
will produce it.
You did not send me your video reel, but I love you any old way.
I have it. I can get it to you.
Yeah, but I can't air it now. So what kind of advice would you give to these new jacks? Talk more about the Life of a Working Model boot camp. Let me just tell you that you invited me down and to speak, and I so enjoyed that. I like what you're doing.
Thank
and
you.
I like the fact that you're so humble. Because
Thank
you don't have to be.
you.
You could be a monster of a whole different kind if you wanted to be. But as I talked to my friends earlier, it's important to pull people up once you've gotten to a good place because somebody pulled you up. And I think that a lot of that is forgotten, particularly nowadays with this disposable generation. I know that's dating me.
It's the microwave society.
Right, real quick.
Right now.
And I'm not helping you because ain't nothing in it for me. How, give me a little bit of advice for our watchers as far as everything that you've done, taking the steps and...
Well, I mean, the best answer is to attend my Life of a Working Model boot camps.
Absolutely.
Because I have 2 different classes. One is my master class, which is the one that you were a part of. I do about a 2-hour lecture telling them how to get into the business, what should your test pictures look like, what's in the model bag, how to find out about jobs, networking, how to spot scams. I break down all of this information. It's like really, really intense. Then I have a panel of my esteemed colleagues like yourself who come in and speak and give your point of view of different parts of the industry. You know, I have different types of models. I have a fit model, I have a print model, I have a runway girl, I have a plus model, I've even had a straight size model come. And talk about different aspects of the industry so they can learn. Because I know that some women who come, they may get through my boot camp and at the end of the day be like, wow, I didn't know all this was...
I don't think I want to do this.
Yeah, I didn't know that this was everything that you had to do to be a model. Like, whoa. But they may have seen or they could have been inspired by talking to you, by hearing you speak about how you're doing fashion show production and casting. So they may say, I want to go into the casting realm. So that's why I try to bring, photographer, makeup, hair. There's so many different ways that you can be in the fashion industry without being a model. And then after that, I do a runway class just to...
Is that something new that you've...
Oh, no, I do a runway class after the panel.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a full day. Yeah, that's why I feel like a Baptist preacher at the end of the day, honey. I gotta just go lay out and I'm like whooped. Yeah, I feel like TD Jakes after like 6 services. Yeah.
Now, have you seen successes come out of your boot camp yet?
Yeah, I've seen girls sign to agencies, end up walking in Full Figure Fashion Week and other runway shows, and appearing in magazines. All types of stuff. So, I mean, even like today, I've seen there was an announcement about a certain fashion show, and a lot of the girls who came to my boot camp made it into the show. Oh, okay. So I was just like,
how does that make you feel?
It feels like, wow, I feel like I'm now a model mom like Naomi, and these are my babies. I mean, really, I had an amazing moment that happened when I was at Plus Night Out last year. At the end, all these, models were coming up to me and they were just like, oh my gosh, can I take a picture with you? I just want to thank you. I came to your boot camp in January, because Plus Night Out was in September. And they were like, I came to your boot camp in January and it kicked off my modeling career on the right path. And you gave me the tools to just start it on such a clear path. So just getting that feedback and seeing them actually working, that just makes my heart feel so full.
Yeah, see?
And it's just, that's what keeps me going. Because it's, some days it's really hard out there, but that keeps me going.
Now, you've branched out. Not only are you working in the States, but you work overseas as well.
God is good.
Yes, He is all the time. But how does that happen? Because it's not an easy thing to get. You've done, I think, what is it, London?
Yeah, I did British Plus Size Fashion Week. They're now changed their name to UK Plus Size Fashion Week. I was one of their headliners last year, so that was just pretty awesome. Let me give you a short story about that. I have had Evans on my vision board for about 3 years.
Okay.
3 or 4 years.
And Evans is a UK retailer.
Yes, if it would be like the Lane Bryant of the UK.
Okay.
And I had them on my vision board for about 3 years. And I would, I met them also in person when I did Full Figure Fashion Week. I kept in touch, got the business card for the one who came to Full Figure Fashion Week. Also had my agents when I was actually out there on vacation for the first time in London. Hit my agent, look, I'm going to London. You know, is there any way that we can set up a go-see while I'm there? I know I'm there for vacation, but you know, I'm all about.
It's a working vacation.
Yeah, it's a working vacation. So I ended up having to go-see with them. You know, still nothing happened. Then I went and just was like, I'm going to go to London. Oh, also when I was in London that very first time, I met with my agency out there, Hughes Models. I had submitted to all these agencies in the UK before I even went on my vacation.
Wow.
And I was just like, let me see if I can set up some meetings while I'm out there. So Hughes Models was the one that reached out to me. I met my booker. She loved me just the way I was. And she was like, we would love to work with you. So she was like, let me know when you can come out here to stay for a little bit. So I kind of put it around that time for the British Plus Size Fashion Week because they asked me was I interested in doing it. And basically...
And you worked
I
there
worked with them there. And then the creative director for Evans was actually at the show. And since I stood out so much, they were just like, who is this girl? Why did I not know about her? I don't understand.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of times in the UK, they go through production companies. And, you know, or it's that other person who's kind of like going through the cards and it may not make it to the person at the next level.
Okay.
So she saw me, she fell in love with me, and I ended up shooting their holiday press campaign.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're almost out of time. I've so enjoyed talking to you. I'd like to thank you, Liris Crosse, for joining us today on Model Behavior. I want to leave you all with a few thoughts like I always do. Remember to surround yourself with positive people and positive things. Remember that you can't change the game without first learning the game. And always be a sponge. Knowledge is everywhere. Try to soak it up as much as you can. Thanks for watching. My name is Sharon Quinn, and class is officially dismissed. Bye, y'all.